Hey everybody, welcome to my noontime broadcast on this Wednesday at 12 noon. Thank you for joining me. Wherever you are, I hope you're well. I hope the sun's shining. Today I was going to do it in a different venue, but as you see, I'm in the back garden because the weather's kind of unpredictable. The sun was shining just a moment ago. I can see it up there, but there's dark clouds coming in. It could rain at any moment, so hey, that's where we are. We're here in the back garden. I was going to be down at Shoreline at the gym. Yeah, I'm sure many of you go to that gym to work out, keep fit, get fit, or just to pose. Because today we're going to think about the Olympic Games. Perhaps you've been watching some of the Olympics. I've seen a little bit of it, particularly the highlights. Haven't really seen a whole lot of it live, because it happens during the night and so on, doesn't it? But it's amazing when the Olympic Games come around, we suddenly get interested in things like taekwondo, or rowing, or I can't think of anything else. It's starting to rain. Things like, well, those kind of things anyway. You know, those sports that you've never even heard of? I mean, there's the stuff like running, which we're all interested in, but or rugby sevens, which is really good. But we suddenly take an interest in sports that we've never seen before, and you get captivated by it, captured by it. So I just want to think about Olympics a little bit today, even in the rain. Yeah, come on, sunshine, shine. And anyway, the Olympics have been around for a long time, haven't they? Started in Greece, of course, maybe 3,000 years ago, something like that. Then they stopped, and then they were kind of reinvented in more recent times. And today there's the Tokyo Olympics happening. Tokyo 2020, because it was postponed for a year. Do you know that the Emperor Nero once entered the Olympic Games? Isn't that fantastic? Yeah, he did, and he got them postponed as well for a year. They were meant to be happening in 66 AD. He got it postponed to 67 AD because he was going to be doing a tour of Greece, and he wanted to take part in the Games. People weren't very happy at being delayed because the Games weren't simply secular games, but they were actually a sacred, a religious ceremony. But anyway, because he was the emperor, they delayed it for a year. And you never guess what? He wanted to enter, and everything he entered, he won. How did that happen? What a talented guy. And he also introduced some new things like playing the lyre or singing. And he introduced stuff like that would never end the Games before. But he wanted to enter the chariot race because he really admired the Greek heroes, and he wanted to be a Greek hero with the chariot and the horses and win the race. So he entered the race. Everybody else lined up with their chariots with 4 horses. He lined up with his chariot with 10 horses. But hey, no one said anything. And so he was going to win, wasn't he? So off they went, and it was going great until they came to the first corner. Now Nero wasn't very fit, and he was rather overweight, and he lost control. In fact, he nearly died at the crash. But nevertheless, he declared himself the winner because he surmised that, well, I would have won if I hadn't crashed. Oh, to be an emperor. Now, Paul, I'm going to read some things from Paul in just a moment. Paul, as you know, wrote the letter to the Corinthians. Now, there was games also in Corinth. They were called the... Oh, I'll not bother saying Isthmian Games. So that's not easy to say. Isthmian Games. Not sure why they were called that. But the Olympic Games happened every 2 years, and these games, the games that happened at Corinth, were in the years in between. And you know, the Emperor Nero entered the games there as well, in a singing competition. Wow, he won that as well. What a talented guy he was. Paul was very familiar with the games. Don't think he was ever at the Greek ones, but he would have been very aware of the Corinthian ones, which happened frequently. In fact, he referred to the Christian life in Olympic type of ways, in athletic type of ways. Here's a passage that you'll know really well from 1 Corinthians chapter 9. All athletes are disciplined in their training. They do it to win a prize that will fade away, but we do it for an eternal prize. So I run with purpose in every step. I'm not just shadowboxing. I discipline my body like an athlete, training it to do what it should. athletes are disciplined. He's saying when you follow Jesus, it's not a hobby. It's not just a nice thing that we do. It's not something we do on a Sunday or occasionally during the week. It's not a part-time thing. It is something to be committed to. When you watch the Olympics today, all of those athletes will have committed their lives to that training because they want to win a gold medal. They have sacrificed so much. They have looked forward those 4 years or 5 years, because it's been postponed, to compete at the Olympic Games, the pinnacle of their career. And they really want to win. Really want to win. And they're dedicated. They pummel their bodies. They watch what they eat. And they're disciplined in their training to be the very best. And we know something can go wrong. Tiny accident, a tiny mishap, a pulled muscle, or missing the qualifying time by a fraction, and you're out. All of that commitment for nothing. But only one person can win the prize. Back in Paul's day, there was no gold, silver, and bronze medals. You either were victorious or you were defeated. There was no gold medal, no silver medal. You either won or you didn't. It's not that you could win a silver medal, but it's that you lost the gold medal. And that's what Paul's saying to us. We are in this race of life, race of eternal life, and it's hard. And to follow Jesus, we need to be committed. We need to watch our nourishment, what we eat. And what we eat is His Word, the truth of His Word. If we don't read the Bible, if we're strangers to it, well, we're going to get flabby. If we're not disciplined in reading it and in prayer, it'll all fall apart. Paul says all athletes are disciplined in their training. And what do they get? Back in Paul's day, it was a laurel wreath. Actually, in these Isthmian games, do you know what they used? Initially, they used wild celery for a crown, wild celery. Then it became a pine wreath because it was dedicated to the god Poseidon, and he was into pine things. But those things don't last. They don't last. But the crown that all Christians will receive as we run this race, as we follow Jesus, as we keep our eyes fixed on Him, we receive a crown of life that never fades away. It's not even just a medal that you can put in your drawer and look at it every so often. It's real, it's tangible. It's for today, it's for tomorrow, it's for eternity. It is a crown that never fails. That's that Corinthians passage. The writer of the Hebrews very briefly just says this: let us strip off every weight that slows us down, especially the sin that so easily trips us up, and let us run with endurance the race that God has set before us. We do this by keeping our eyes fixed on Jesus. Let us throw everything off that hinders. A runner doesn't run a race in a suit of armour or carrying heavy weights. He makes it as light as possible so that he can run fast. And in our walk, in our race of life, living, following Jesus, we want to throw off the things that hinder us. What hinders you from following Jesus closely? What stops you from reading the Bible more than you do? What prevents you from praying? To identify those things and let nothing stand in your way. Like the athletes, sacrificial commitment because you want to win the race. So let's throw that off. And very finally, Paul writes to Timothy, anyone who competes as an athlete does not receive the victor's crown except by competing according to the rules. Nero didn't compete according to the rules. He made up his own rules. And we can do that, can't we? We try to make up our own rules of what it means to follow Jesus. What kind of commitment that means. Or the world tries to make up its own rules of life. How can I be happy? How can I be successful? How can I be me? But God has given us rules to live by. He's given us a way of eternal life. And my message to all of us today, to you and to me, is, as we watch those games, let's see the commitment, straining to win. And so we want to strain to follow Jesus. Even when the going gets tough, even when we get lazy and can't be bothered, let's throw out everything that hinders. Let's be committed. Let's pummel our bodies. Let's love Him with all our minds and our hearts, everything we are, for he deserves that, because he has given us eternal life. This is my last message to you for a little while, because I'm going off on holiday on Thursday, and not going very far. But we're going to take the month of August off. Well, not I'm going to take the month of August off, but from this here, we're not going to do this. I will be back in September. Now, I don't want you to miss me too much. I'll really miss you, because I love doing this. But, yeah. So this will be the last one until the beginning of September. Again, the first Wednesday in September, whatever that date is. But maybe you can carry this message with you through these next number of weeks. To be trained, to be disciplined, to be guided by the rules, and most importantly of all, to keep our eyes fixed on Jesus. So, until I see you again in September, hope you enjoy the rest of the summer, and be blessed.